Hey folks, KILT-MAN here, KILT-MAN at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. And welcome to another Kilted Commentary. Let's see what controversy we can court this time around. Regular viewers will know that a couple of the commentary tracks that I've done recently got themselves blocked. Although, light on the horizon because they got unblocked again. So who knows? So I think really I'm going to try to keep the sound down on this one a little bit, but who knows? It might work, it might not work. But if it gets blocked, we'll unblock it again. So, what film have we got today? It's a classic from 1951, a genre milestone, The Thing from Another World. Yes, you know it, you love it. Christian Nyby directed it. Really? Howard Hawks produced it and mostly directed it as well. It's got Howard Hawks' trademarks all over it, but we'll discuss all that as the film goes on. A classic, an alien invasion movie. A North Pole research outpost has been visited by a crash-landing flying saucer, and the intellectual supercarrot that manages to defrost itself goes on a blood-drinking rampage around the confines of this isolated outpost. You have the boffins, the scientists up there who want to preserve it, and they're everything in their power they're doing to try and save the alien, whereas all the military men there are heroes from the US Air Force, doing everything they can in their powers to destroy it. So they're at loggerheads, aren't they? But it's a classic of suspense, of fear, of sci-fi, creature feature mayhem. It came out the same year as The Day the Earth Stood Still, which was a different type of alien invasion for the betterment of mankind, although there is a great big threat involved in it too. But even though the films are two different sorts of sides of the same coin, and both feature the theremin on their soundtracks, the eerie, spectacular, sepulchral and stellar cosmic sound of the theremin. Dimitri Tiomkin does the soundtrack for The Thing from Another World. Bernard Herrmann does the soundtrack for The Day the Earth Stood Still, both using the theremin, but in different ways. Here, it's scary spooky. In The Day the Earth Stood Still, it's kind of awe and cosmic splendour and wonderment and eeriness, but this is done for blood chills and making your sphincter tingle. So anyway, folks, for reference, I am using the premium collection Blu-ray from the UK of The Thing from Another World. People have said, oh, that Blu-ray is not really worth it. It actually is. It's far better than any other DVD version that's out there. Now, folks, if you're watching along with this, which I hope you are, of course, don't be watching the colorized version because it's actually a couple of minutes shorter. Yeah, they've eliminated a couple of scenes. If I did know why that was, because I reviewed that copy a long time ago, if I did know why that was, I have long since forgotten. But either way, that's a shorter version, so you'll be out of sync. Now, whichever version you're watching, whether it's a DVD, a Blu-ray, or whatever, I am now on the menu screen, and I've got highlighted there, play movie, in big red letters. Now, I'm going to hit that with a little countdown. So get yourselves prepared for it, and then we should be on the same hymn sheet, I hope. So I'm going to press play in, let's do a countdown from 3. And as I always say, we're going to do it 3, 2, 1, press play. Not 3, 2, 1, and as I say 1, press play. So 3, 2, 1, and then press play. It's doomed to failure, isn't it? But let's give it a go anyway. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, and then it starts doing this dicking about reading the disc. An RKO. Radio Pictures. Radio Picture. And they, Winchester Pictures Corporation, 2 Winchester rifles there. Gorgeous. Presents Howard Hawks' production. And look at this. The title, The Thing, burning through the screen. So impactful an image is that John Carpenter would reuse it, of course, for his remake of The Thing in 1982. I may have mentioned that film a few times as well. And I have reviewed this movie as well on the channel. Here you go. Screenplay by Charles Lederer, based on the short story Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. in Astounding Tales that came through. And you're hearing Tiomkin's fabulous score there, and the evocative shot of a soundstage, a set with like fake and superimposed snowflakes drifting past, but you really are getting the impression you're going to be out there in the snow and the ice. It really, really works. The screenplay was changed drastically from the original John W. Campbell novella, where it was a mind entering, shape-shifting alien being which haunted the dreams of all the victims. And then, of course, Carpenter would take on that aspect of it being a shape-shifting entity. But they couldn't do that with this. So it's a 7 foot, hang on, how tall is he? 6'7", James Arnett in a rather sub-Karloff Frankenstein sort of makeup. But anyway, so we're in Anchorage, Air Force Base. We're meeting, these are our main guys. There's Scotty, Douglas Spencer, the reporter. What's a reporter doing in the, above the Arctic Circle? What's he doing there? Looking for a story. Cheers, y'all. Lieutenant Eddie Dykes, Lieutenant McPherson, and our hero, Captain Hendry, played by the great Kenneth Tobey, who was in many, many more creature features. I'm going to turn it up slightly. I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. They're not actually wearing genuine US Air Force uniforms here. Howard Hawks went out and sourced all his own aircraft, all his own uniforms and props and things. And they were going to film it, or a lot of it, up at the American Air Force Base, right on the border with Canada, in Cutbank, Montana, Glacier National Park. But because it's famous for its snow, but they've had such terrible wind. We've all been there, haven't we? With terrible wind. And there was no snow, so it was useless. So they do film a few sort of exterior and flyover shots at Glacier Park, Montana. But the rest of it's filmed down in Encino in the San Fernando Valley at the RKO Ranch. But in blistering 100-degree weather. But we'll come on to that in the pivotal scenes where they're out in the snow and ice. They're not really. Right, so Scotty's there looking for a story. He's off the beaten track, isn't he? But boy, is he going to find a story. And these guys, at the moment, they're flying sort of regular routine missions to this isolated Arctic base. But this is 1951, and it's the height of the Cold War. And you've got the Russians are all over the Arctic. Everyone's worried about an atomic war. You've got a bit of a backlash against the scientists because of Hiroshima and what it really did. Here's General Fogarty. Close the door. Bit of a running gag throughout this bit. Kenneth Tobey is a glorious redhead. I know you can't really tell in this, but you can in the colorized version. Yeah, he's a carrot top. I always liked that because being of that breed myself, to see him, even when I was a kid watching this, even in black and white, he's a redhead. You can see it. And I thought, oh, great, there's a red-headed hero. He gets the girl, he fights the monster. He's the hero, he's the man of action. Yeah, he's right. Close the door. By the way, as soon as the door's open, as soon as it's shut, silence. So, something's happened at this base, right? Something's crashed. Look, I know you guys know what it is. Yeah. You've got to remember that a lot of this, unbelievably, I've got one of the scripts here. If you click right on the screen for a second, I've got one of the first draft of this, which is vastly different. Loads of different characters in it. Lots of different dialogue, but you know, a lot of it is what you see here. But where was I going with that? What was I going to say there? A lot of the dialogue, the Hawksian overlapping dialogue, a lot of it's actually ad-libbed. And the thing about overlapping dialogue, everyone thinks it's meant to be very difficult to do. How do you pick your line? When are you going to say your thing? So long as you know your stuff and you're in character. This is what my mum told me, because my mum was an actress and she did similar sorts of things, not to this, but on stage. And when you're doing overlapping dialogue, just stick to what you know and just compete with the other performers. And it works because it's more realistic. That's how people do talk. They stutter, they stammer, they speak over each other, they repeat themselves. Another great classic example of this sort of naturalistic dialogue is Jaws, which is perfect. See in the top there, Dewey Martin, Crew Chief Bob. He's the true hero of this. In his Tex, he's at the base there. The Texan radio operator, he's got his plaid shirt on, he's got denims on. He actually is wearing cowboy boots as well. Now if you look behind him, look at that, and you're thinking, oh, that's just like a matte painting, or with some wind, some snow being blown over it. They've built this place in Encino, because you'll see the entire camp, and that is a radio shack, and he's sitting in it. So that is the view outside, because all the oil drums and all the other little bits and bobs, they've built all that. So that is actually, you're going over desert there. And this is desert. This is built at the ranch. Cheers, y'all. And the good thing about filming in a desert is that in black and white and a bit of sort of colour, you know, it's black and white, the colour timing of the prints, you'll make it look like it's snow. But as I say, some of these bits are filmed up at Cutbank, Montana, Glacier National Park. But they've built all of this, and it is very similar to the way that Outpost 31 looks in the John Carpenter movie. You get a lot in these early scenes. You get a lot of people disembarking from this plane. But I'll tell you something else as well. John Carpenter's The Thing is my favourite film of all time. You guys know that. But this is right up there as well. And I get more of an atmosphere of the cold from this than I do from John Carpenter's The Thing. I have discussed this before. But the wind sounds harsher, more brutal. They look like they're struggling more. Even though they're actually jaunting through that's fake snow they're going past here. But I get that feeling of it's colder, it's bleaker, it's more inhospitable. You've got the raging storm, you know, in The Thing, Carpenter's version, but you don't really get any impression that it's, we can't go out there, because when they're struggling against the guide ropes, they're acting that they're struggling against the guide ropes. Look at this. Even with the old Academy ratio, you've got Howard Hawks has almost his entire cast in some shots in the frame. Look at this guy, Lee, the Chinese cook. Look at him in the background. He's listening to his two subordinates taking the piss out of the captain. And he's always, there's another bit. You always see him in the background laughing, and they're grinning at all what they're saying. Mugging, basically, for the camera. Oh, hello.
Hi, Pat. Welcome to our
Hello. Suddenly I've warmed up a bit. Margaret Sheridan.
How was your trip?
She's lovely, yeah.
Fine. I think Dr. Turner wants to see you.
Kind of Toby would start opposite Faith Demegu, or Demegu, in the beast from 5,000 Fathoms, or was it Came From Beneath the Sea? The one with the octopus. It Came From Beneath the Sea. After this, and she would also star in This Island Earth, and she is one. They tout her as being a gorgeous babe. She's one ugly bint. And it does come down to things like that as far as I'm concerned. She is short, but she's gorgeous. So these two have got like a bit of previous. They clearly have had a bit of a dalliance. And she is a Hawksian strong woman. They're talking about drinking, a drinking contest, and she managed to drink all them drinks and he passed out. They are some freakish eyebrows though, aren't they? Says the man that actually has no eyebrows. It's just eyebrow envy. You had moments of carrying on making like an octopus. I never saw so many hands in all my life. And then he would go on to fight something which is an octopus. Look at the jacket as well. That's a modified A2 aviator's jacket. That became the basis of what Indiana Jones wears, which is there. If you take it out to the screen again, it's there behind me. And I've got the G1 aviator there. I've got several versions of that. And you can see the patches, the flight crew mission patches he's wearing. Here's Dr. Carrington, Robert Cornthwaite, who's outstanding. I love this guy. Just snippy, acerbic, arrogant scientist boffin. Look, yeah, his guest is waiting behind him. Dr. Carrington, Captain Henry's here. Yes, I know. Afternoon, Captain. Just over his shoulder. Some of the most convincing snow is actually in his hair at the moment and his beard. Robert Cornthwaite was 34 years old when he made this. And they've tried to make him look like he's in his 50s, 60s. And he does look a lot older. You want to see him how he looks, how he would have looked really. Check out War of the Worlds. George Powell's War of the Worlds. He's in that early sequences as one of the scientists there. Natural coloured hair and his normal sort of face. And he's laughing and joking. Something you don't see in this at all. He's super serioso. So right, something has landed. 20,000 tons has landed. Except for one thing. Look at this. Check this out.
We had some special telescopic cameras. The appearance of radioactivity at Geiger counter.
You know, for 1951, and for a film which is a fantasy, a lot of this science is not bunkum what they're coming up with, and the equipment that they use, the tactics they employ. Look at this thing. He's just saying, can you see that small glowing dot in the bottom there? Yeah, it's rather fucking obvious. Something coming down the stairs. And you get a bit of stupidity here, because Captain Henry will ask how they're going to work out the distance where it is, and this other doctor with his college campus sort of jumper on there will explain how they listen.
We have the time of arrival of the sound waves and the detectors.
Sound waves.
The arrival time of the impact waves and the seismograph.
Impact waves, seismograph.
Computing the difference, it becomes quite obvious that they were targeted
Yeah.
an object in distance from here.
That seems straightforward to me. Yeah, Captain Henry goes, you lost me there, but you know. And he starts laughing. Captain Henry, he's a fucking Air Force pilot. He has more than just a rudimentary understanding of physics, mathematics, and computation. He knows distance, speed, velocity. He understands all that implicitly. He's trained in it. It's instinctive. And he just goes, oh, you lost me there. But I like it though. You're immediately setting up this thing, which the whole film's about, the dichotomy between the scientific brigade and their mindset, and the military and their mindset, their practical resourcefulness. Look at this. Husky dogs. Now, I did want my husky dog sitting beside me as usual, but again, as usual, she had other ideas. See now, there's a nice little connective dot there. He was asking how they measured where this thing was and the computation, and now Dr. Carrington's going to him with the compass aberrations and magnetic deviation. How can you locate where you are? You see that peak over there? That's almost due east, so we're following that. And he's like, oh, very good. So they swapped roles there. Look at that. That looks spectacular, you know. And I love the cramped quality. Again, like the outpost itself, all the paraphernalia, all the instruments and stuff, all the equipment here and the cockpit, it all looks very, very genuine. Desert. This is Encino. Aft flaps. I couldn't act these scenes. Every time I said the word flaps or heard the word flaps, I'd be laughing my head off. Cut! KILT-MAN! Stop it! They get a lot of mileage out of the footage of the plane itself during these early scenes. They're kind of showing it off, really, aren't they? Listen, Tionkin's score gets thunderous, building and burgeoning. Here's the dogs, off we go. Come on, chaps. And they're all wearing their lacrosse rackets on their feet. Oh, listen. The theremin. It's almost like a high soprano, voice. Woo! I know you're all thinking, my God, he sounds just like a theremin. I don't have a problem with this dialogue at all. They're describing exactly what we all can see quite plainly, and it is for the benefit of the audience. But I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Now, folks, what you want to pay attention to here is, well, if you want to, this is on the RKO ranch where they're filming this. It's 100-degree heat. But if you look around, when they form the circle around the let's try and find out the size and shape of this thing, and they form the circle. If you look now, you can see vertical seams in the painted on almost curtains around the backing. That sky is not real.
Part of an airfoil, probably a stabilizer of some sort. It's an airplane, all right. Voorhees, can you tell what metal that is? I'll need some tools. Barnes, bring some tools.
I love that. Barnes, bring some tools. Any specific tools you got in mind?
Hey,
Got a whole cargo hold full of tools here.
Steeper over here. Captain, may I suggest that we spread out and try to determine the size and shape. Right. Spread out, everybody.
This is classic, folks. I'm just going to shut up for a second because this is so awesome. Electrifying. Oh my God. And the cut there. And the way the dialogue moves from one to the other as the camera follows around this arc, the circle they formed. Hey, it is. Yes, it's almost. It is. It's round. Imagine the excitement. Can you see the seam in the background there?
Dr. Carrington, this isn't any metal I know. Probably some new metal. Get some filing for analysis.
They must have been sweating so much in this.
I don't think we have a chance of chopping it through the ice with axes. I know, Doctor. We think so too. We're going to try to melt it out with thermite bomb.
Oh, excellent. Thermite bombs. Yeah, that's clever.
Well, from this planet, I can doubt it. Well, then do you think that the
You know what thermite bombs are? Everything about a thermite. There's two types of thermite bomb. There's the incendiary, which they're going to use as a fragmentation version as well. But for this, ice clearance, you're gonna everything that's part of the bomb itself is combustible. It's iron oxide, magnesium, aluminium. It just the whole thing once it goes, the whole thing burns. So no fragmentation.
This is the biggest story since the parting of the Red Sea. You can't cover it up.
He's got some great lines.
Look, Sonny, if you think I'm gonna... I'll take that. Here's a not even a rush.
And we've got one of the old Acme Wile E. Coyote little plungers. What about me?
Don't apologize. You're just going to grow up to be another Fogarty. Where are we going to touch this thing off? Over there. Have you looked toward the west lately? The front's moving fast and the temperature's dropping too. Yeah, we don't have more than an hour. Where do you put those, Bob? Right on the surface. Oh, tell Stone, will you say? Hey, what will this thermite...
Yeah, the thermite explanation.
Standard operating procedure for removing ice. Hook this wire up, will you, Lieutenant? It just melts.
Crew Chief Bob, Dewey Martin, he's just incredible. He's a crew chief, and you've got to bow down to him because he's the guy that knows all the technicalities. But he bosses around the lieutenants, he bosses around the captain, he bosses around everyone, and he comes up with every winning idea in this movie. Every single thing that works, it's his idea, not Captain Hendry's. Look at the dogs. The dogs are like, what the fuck are you guys looking at? And you get... guess again. It ain't gonna happen, baby. It is sad, isn't it? You know, because you think, oh god, the greatest moments, and these guys fuck it up good style. Now watch here, you get some shaky camera stuff, and these are all like fake, like Star Trek. They're getting thrown around the bridge, like hit the deck. But the dogs in the background, just completely oblivious to this. You'll watch in a second. Oh, get that, everybody! Look at this, the camera's just going, having an epileptic fit. It's a good explosion though. And a good plume. Look at the dogs are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? They're just like, is it bedtime?
Everybody all right? That nice explosion. Sergeant, will you try your Geiger counter? Only a trace. That's just residual.
Love that line there. Only,
It's all gone.
you try your Geiger counter.
Might have given us a
Ah.
few signs. Gone.
Just a trace. That's just residual. Someone say, that's just typical. That's just residual.
Greatest discovery in history up in flames. Turning a new civilization into a 4th of July.
Oh, Scotty, shut up. Like, you didn't know anything better, did you? He will have a go at everyone, Scotty. Because he's so arrogant and, like, sarcastic. Oh, I'll mention that Douglas Spencer, who plays Scotty, he does slip a couple of times on the fake snow and ice. That has to be helped. It's in the background, but you do see it. Uh-oh. Ooh. This is great. You know,
Looks like a man.
I do watch this film a lot. I don't normally talk all the way through it, but I am electrified when I watch it. I know to modern audiences now it's talky, but it's very talky. It's Howard Hawksy talksy. And there really isn't a great deal of kills, and there isn't much monster sort of coverage, but it's build of suspense and terror. Look, Scotty gets involved. That's the thing about the film as well. Scotty does get involved in a lot of stuff. He's hacking the ice out there. And now, while they're flying back, let's just talk about hacking out a huge block of ice. Which you're going to see that huge block of ice, which is going to be, well, James Arness is 6'7". Not that he's in the block of ice, let's be honest, but the dimensions will be the same. It's huge. It's fucking huge. It's about 10 feet long by about 3 or 4 feet deep and 3 or 4 feet wide. How do you dig through all that ice? Oh, I'm missing a great moment here. Lieutenant McPherson. Yeah, listen to this. These are great shots, these.
All evidence indicates that the reports of unidentified flying objects are the result of one misinterpretation of various conventional objects.
Didn't look very conventional to me.
Second, a mild form of
Yeah.
mass hysteria.
That'd be when General Fogarty got to shaking hands with that thing in the ice.
Look at McPherson now. He stays staring at the ice.
What are the other reasons?
Third, that they're jokes.
Where'd you say the number?
And this is the joke.
629-49, item 6700, extract 75,131.
Look at Scotty looking at him.
Oh, that one.
Here we go. The little cheeky Chedovic laugh. Brilliant. I know, that's cutesy, it's coy, it's of its era, but it's endearing. That sort of camaraderie and banter anchors you with these people, makes them human. I mean, if done nowadays, there'd be an F-bomb every other word or whatever, but it's brilliant. Back to the ice. How the hell do you chop out a block of ice when you're above the ice and you're chopping down into it? You've got to cut around it. How do you get underneath it? How do you lift it up? You don't, folks. You don't. It'd be very, very hard to do. I have the same issue, of course, with John Carpenter's The Thing as well. Because you actually see a very sort of square block of ice that they've got. But this does look really good, doesn't it? Look at that. That is a wonderful prop, that. And I love the snow blowing in as well. They don't forget that. Now, he's meant to have 3 eyes and tentacles and all that, like, and he's meant to be hit with an axe through the ice as well. His skull's meant to be split open, so he's not a very happy chappy. Here we go. Here's one of our big discussion points now. They've already blown up the flying saucer. Henry is saying, no, you're not opening this. Leave it. Carrington is like, no, it's our job to open this because things survive after death, organisms, but, cold can kill them. So time is of the essence. He's right. At this stage in the game, Captain Henry does have no authority. Things haven't changed. I've been in the forces and I know how things work. Rules of engagement and rules with civilians. Things I can't imagine have changed that much since my day. And I know that in my day, it would have been the same as in this day. Now, that is a civilian outpost. That's a civilian scientific outpost, a research station. It's government funded. The military go in there, do checkups and bring in supplies. That's what they do. But it is a civilian outpost. So Professor Carrington is the ruling governor of that outpost. What he says goes for now. The minute it becomes a threatening situation, and as will happen, violence and people will die, that is when Henry would take command. General Fogarty does not have any sort of control over that station. And Henry is acting under orders from Fogarty. See, great. People think it's a static movie. They're just standing around talking all the time. Just the frame is filled with characters, which it is. But the camera does move, and you've got a few one-take shots, which are brilliant. This is great, this. Tex hasn't got a fucking clue what's going on.
Came about an hour ago. Can you read it? Fogarty to Henry. Withhold newspaper story until permission from Air Force HQ.
But, governments and military being what they are, they do stamp their claim. People who say that this film is anti-scientific brigade and pro-military, they're actually wrong, because even though the military win the day, the military are made out to look like idiots just as much as the scientific brigade are.
roundup. You mean you're not getting anything? Not a thing.
I mean, that's what Scotty says there. That's what I like about the army. You know, smart all the way to the top. In other words, you guys are dickheads. Your boss is a dickhead.
Well, Doctor, in view of this new situation, I suggest an offer the old one. We don't agree with you, Captain. There's no
Look at Tex.
Tex, I'd like to leave Barnes here to help out with the case. Sure, Captain. Barnes, keep trying to get through. I want to get a message to the general. Tell him the aircraft was completely...
Tex hasn't got a clue.
Tell him we found a passenger.
You got a fella from Mars?
On ice, buddy, on ice.
Tell him we're keeping the body...
He's rolling a ciggy. He just goes back to it. It's like, hang on a minute. You've got a man from Mars.
We're standing by
What?
for
Where?
before-
On ice, buddy, on ice. He just goes back to doing his shit like...
One very essential point, that I consider it vitally important that the examination be made.
He's had a tough job there, though, on camera. Throughout a long dialogue scene. You've got Barnes taking notes.
I expect you to let me know.
But Tex has to do a rollie and get it right and then light it and start smoking it.
Well, I interviewed the Dark Spot. What do you think of you?
And he's chewing gum as well at the same time. What a man.
Barnes, if you get through, ask the general.
By the way, bit of useless trivia for you. Tex, it's useless to you, but it means something to me. He's a dead ringer for my mate over the road, Paul. So when I'm watching that, I just see Paul there.
Well, they took off and they saw that kick alive. They'll need a lot of coaxing to get him back. I thought if Mr.
Yeah, look, see.
Lieutenant would give me a hand,
Well, I was a guest, sort of an officer.
or you can be ordering me around while you're carrying the other end.
See, Bob's just taking... I thought that the lieutenant could help me do this, blah, blah, blah. And they're going, what the fuck, you know? All right, you're a senior ranking officer. Yeah, or you can be ordering me around at the same time. Bob is great. Professor Voorhees, Professor Jason Voorhees.
You know what it reminds me of? The time I was stuck on Bulan Island with the old 97th Bomber Group. An Army nurse came ashore one day and caused just about the same disturbance as this guy from Mars has around here. You like it there.
The electric shaver as well.
Johnny, what's new?
Oh, God. Scotty, what's new? What's new?
And I run into this human clam. You're getting pretty for you'll never look good.
There's some great dialogue.
The captain here passes the buck to General Fogarty. Fogarty takes it to Washington. Who will Truman ask when it gets to him? Margaret, I think that might be some way to get back to civilization, for instance. I don't know.
See,
Pogo sticks kitty.
ad-libbing.
His dog sled.
These are ad-libbing here.
Come through from General Fogarty. Flint. Nothing about you, sir.
It's Barnes, Corporal Barnes. Super Brill Cream Slick Back Barnes.
What did you gather was
The general yells in louder, he won't need the radio.
I knew it. Like pouring water through a
Everybody wants more information. Congress, Secretary of State, and especially General Fogarty. He's having a fit.
Isn't Anchorage big?
Ah.
It's not a crackle, sir. We're picking up them because they have a stronger station.
A picture just came to me. My editor.
It's genius, you know.
Over his office, yelling, stamping his
I've been reading the screenplay I've got there. I've got another couple different versions, which are not complete to be honest. But that's the most complete one I've got, and it's the dialogue is it's there's too much dialogue. I know there's a lot in the finished movie, but in the screenplay they wrote a hell of a lot more, and it's some of it's horrible, just horrible. It's so overly descriptive.
I don't like the body like this, Captain. It's a long-term.
But Hawks has just gone like, look, you guys, here's the basis of it. Just have fun with it. Bob again is coming up with a solution.
See, so the ice is clearing up. See that thing pretty good now.
Yeah,
It's got crazy hands and no hair, and the eyes.
it's got crazy hands and no hair.
Oh,
Is that my wife?
it's got me too, sir, and I was in there.
Love that.
I got the lieutenant from electric
And then Bob just goes like, you know, oh, it's got me too, sir, and I wasn't there for long. Listen, cut the watch shifts in half, and I've got the sergeant, I've got the lieutenant's electric blanket. Look at that. See Bob's face there. Bob knows I've got you again, Captain. Oh, look over there.
I want to talk to you.
No, please.
Bad. What's really going on?
They are remarkably relaxed for the fact that they've just encountered a UFO, a flying saucer, blown it up, and they've got an alien encased in a block of ice.
Does it mean that we're going to start having visitors from other worlds, other planets, dropping in on us? Do we have to return the call, or?
She's actually very pragmatic as well.
It's crazy now.
And she does come up with one of the winning ideas. I know Bob's the hero, but, you know,
I like the way
Nikki's also quite sharp and shrewd.
I am too.
They're blowing smoke into each other's faces.
When you're not mad.
It was a different era, wasn't it? A lot of you guys have grown up without ciggies being in the at the workplace or
I think you've earned it.
in the pubs and restaurants.
That is, if you want one.
Christ, when I started working and going pubs, you couldn't see where you're going for all the vapor mist of pure nicotine fugue. Look, I'll tie you up. So she's tied him up there. This is a bit of a subversive scene, isn't it? She's teasing him. He's allowed it to happen. She's tied him up. But watch. Look at the window as well. They're not forgetting about the snow.
You never get
And they do it all the time. All the open windows to the outside world, you're seeing snow coming past it.
Never mind, you haven't. Maybe you did. Go on with what you were saying.
What?
You know, about the dinner and the drink.
Oh, well, the same man has to have 30,000 in it and the same amount of drink.
Really, not a woman.
No.
That's fine philosophy.
Some of these lines, I keep saying, they're great.
So nice.
Because you're getting like
You know, I'm glad we can
the back end of a story, the back end of a joke or an anecdote. And even you kind of want, oh, I'd love to have heard all that.
No, not at all. I think this is a great
But it's very naturalistic.
Come here.
Come here, you carrot top, you.
Look at you. Sitting there like
And look behind,
that.
he's untied himself and she hasn't noticed.
Well, if you weren't tied up, I wouldn't
It's
be
a
here.
wonderful little moment, that.
You know, Pat.
But back to the ciggies.
You is that you just don't know anything about women. What a woman was is to.
What man does. Love that, like,
How long have you been loose?
long enough.
It's been a very
Pat, if you walk out of me like this.
Don't worry, I wouldn't go.
I'm not sure what's going on with that bra of hers, though. That doesn't look right, does it? It's not very flattering. I know she's wearing like a thermal top, but...
I'll get a good night's sleep.
I'll see you in the morning.
And you get a little head shake.
It's the only thing, isn't it?
Hi, Pat. Hi.
Here's Barnes,
Sure glad I'm not looking at that guy anymore.
Corporal Barnes.
Yes, sir. Got an electric flying suit and the parka. Bob already.
Electric flying suit? Fucking hell.
Take it easy. Yeah.
If someone said to me, I've bought you an electric flying suit, I would think I could fly with it. Just charge it up and I think I could take off to the skies. He's whistling some in there. Look at that. That's a nice enigmatic shot. That makeup there you're seeing there is not the way that he looks when he comes out of it. Lee Greenway did the makeup for this. Had a lot of trouble. Howard Hawks threw out a lot of the ideas. The 3 eyes, the tentacles and all that kind of stuff. Threw out a lot of that. After months of pre-production, just said like, no, fuck that. Just give me a Frankenstein look. Which is what they went with. More on that later. Oh dear. It's plugged in. It would take something to, even with electric blanket, to melt that amount of ice. And you'd fucking hear it, wouldn't you? Unless he's got a Walkman on. A Walkman. I was trying to think of something a bit nearer to the time this was made. Oh, the dogs are up. The Eskimos have run off already. They did not like him. The block of ice and the thing in it. Uh-oh. Theremin. Fuck this! They've all got M1911A1 Colt governments. I've fired that. It's brilliant gun. Oh yeah.
That thing's alive. It's not dead.
Listen, this is tremendous. This overacting. They've just said to him, just go for it. That's William Self.
He's like a cat doing. God, it was awful. Those hands and those eyes.
You gotta do something about it, you got.
You gotta stop me fucking babbling bullshit. Someone stop me now. Right, Barnes, sit down, shut up, and now take a breath and tell me. Barnes became, well, Will himself became the head of Fox for a while. Producer of many TV shows. Carpenter mimics many of these scenes and shots for his movie. Too many to list, but this is great, this. I would love to have a prop of that. There should be like a little extraterrestrial turd on it.
Here's what did it. This blanket was on and still warm.
From this point onwards, folks, every time a door opens, every time everyone turns to look at it, everyone turns. That's a brilliant touch, you know, brilliant. Hence the title, Who Goes There? Who Goes There in the original is based on two things. The fact that you can't trust the person next to you. They could be an inhuman imitation. But also it's a military thing. Who goes there? When the door opens, when someone approaches, who goes there? Again, some of these dogs just aren't arsed. Henry's a brave man. They've all got the big hoods on. He's got a little flimsy nylon one. Whoa. Right. You saw there, as he runs off, if you look, he's lost an arm, right? The sleeve of the missing arm is hanging, flapping loose. I've had people say to me, like, well, hang on, when you found the arm, the sleeve isn't there. And then when you see him again, because he grows another arm, doesn't he? He's grown again, and it's just a normal arm with the sleeve on. He's grown an arm. The sleeve is still there. He hasn't lost the sleeve. That's the thing, and you see it there. It's flapping loose. That's a great effect, you know. Oh, this is a wonderful scene. This is just, again with the music. It's ghastly. You've got 17 people in that shot. 17.
Captain Henry would help me if you, any of you, would describe what you saw out there.
Well, okay, I'll tell you, but just get out of my face. You know, personal space, please.
Then he threw one dog at the rest. We got there, two of them were dead. They looked like they'd been through a chopper. Where did you find the arm?
The way it combines around the people speaking. Look, Douglas Spencer in the background suddenly comes in. It's brilliantly done.
Be careful not to lose barbs, because they are very sharp. It's sort of chitin such things. Something between a beetle's back and a rose thorn. Thornfinger, huh? Amazing.
Thornfinger.
If he uses a weapon, you don't have to worry about that. With an arm all.
This is great though. He comes undone here.
Got along all right with a block of ice for over 24 hours.
Did he?
Spry for a guy with club dog line.
Oh shit.
Losing an arm. In my mind.
He's like, oh shit. He was confident a second ago. Hey, I mean, know what? With one arm, not much of a threat.
Yes, but not in his blood. Probably from one of the dogs. No blood in the arm. No animal tissue. The scan.
The people's reactions around, if you look, you can spend your time watching this and looking at one person in particular. They're in the moment and they're listening to what's being said and they're reacting to it.
Well, Doctor? No arterial structure indicated. No nerve endings visible.
Carpenter, using the anamorphic frame, would lash everybody into a sequence, to a shot of a dialogue scene, and he'd have like 12 people in the shot. And he did that as a direct reference and homage to this movie.
You know, Doctor, that could be why the bullets fired by Sergeant Bond had no seeming effect. That's right. Merely holes drilled into vegetable matter. This green fluid here.
Yeah.
Like plant sap. We'll probably find it has.
And, you know, when you first watch this, you think, oh, they're not showing the arm, are they? Oh, but they will.
So you're describing some form of
Super carrot.
That's nearly right, Mr. Scott. This carrot
Look at that roll neck on him and his blazer.
capable of flying some millions of miles through space.
He's got that's like almost like a naval jacket that Robert Cornthwaite's wearing as Dr. Carrington there.
Imagine how strange
It is. That's a naval jacket he's wearing. There's a crown on it as well. There's a royal crown on it.
all over the earth are going to evolve into us. Look, on the planet from which our visitor came, vegetable life underwent an evolution similar to that of our own animals.
He's 34, folks, but listen to the way he's delivering his dialogue. He's doing it in a sort of older fashion as well.
Not handicapped by emotional or sexual factors. Dr. Carrington, you're a man who won the Nobel Prize. You've received every kind of international...
Look at the faces. Look at everyone.
If you were for sale, I could get $1 million for you.
Look at poor Corporal Barnes. Looks like he's lost an ear.
I'll stick my neck out and say that you're stuffed absolutely clean full of wild blueberry muffins. But I promise you, my readers are going to think so. Not for long, Mr. Scott.
I mean, even Carrington actually laughs at that.
You mean there are vegetables right here on Earth
That can think.
certain kind of thinking, yes.
Henry getting his boys together.
Telegraph line? Not
Guys, this is bullshit. Don't listen to this man.
the account of the century plan, Dr. Stern? Yes. Go ahead, Doctor. It's your field.
They're pushing things a little bit here with this theory. You mean there's vegetables and plants on this planet that can think? Well, if they're using bait, in their sap to lure prey in, it's not exactly thought. And the telegraph vine, this is a bizarre one. These are vines which the telegraph vine, which can communicate with other vines of its own species, 6 to 100 miles away, I think he says. What for? Oh, and how would you work that out? That's absolute bullshit, that.
No pain or pleasures, we know. No emotions. No heart. Our superior. Our superior in every way.
Well, that's a matter of opinion, isn't it? Personally, I like sexual content in my life. I like emotions.
Communicate with it. We can learn secrets that have been hidden from mankind since the beginning.
This is wonderful. The theremin strikes up, Tionkin's score. Pay attention here. Watch this. As the barbed knuckles wrap the table, there is a musical note. Listen.
12:10 a.m. the hand became alive.
12:10 a.m. the hand became alive.
The temperature of the forearm showed it.
Look at that. I'm shivering, folks. God.
Because of this rise in temperature, I believe it was able to...
And you think watching it now, it's just that there's just someone's arm doing that, which of course it is. But you think, well, you won't see the other end of it. Camera pans up, there's the other end of it. It's clever. It's obviously the cut off, the real arms underneath the table.
One moment, Captain.
See these wooden walkways
When you find what you're looking for,
in the Kilt Mansion, which I am residing in right now. We have a lot of wooden floorboards, which we only put rugs across and throws and that sort of stuff. So we do clatter around this place. Landings, we've got several landings, and the hallway outside here, which is huge and long, and you clatter and the footsteps rattle. It's wonderful, and it reminds me of this. See, only the Texan looks like a lynching party. See his cowboy boots.
nothing's going on anyway.
Hey, what are you guys looking for?
Yeah, someone tell him he's out there in the Radio Shack on his own.
What do you mean?
Keep your door locked, watch you let in, and use your fire axe. The gun's no good. He's going, what do you mean the gun's no good? What's... Bastards! Don't leave me alone out here. Crew Chief Bob on the Geiger counter. Again, how many people you got in that shot there? Look at that.
Something in here, all right?
No, you're a little off base.
Oh wait, like literally, Carrington was waiting there just to go like, nah. You let them do that, which builds up suspense for us. But he let them. You can see he's letting them do it. I'll tell you only when I have to. I would have checked that room a little bit more.
This door's locked. Dr. Stern has the key. Oh, yeah. None of the others.
Oh, keys. Keys. Dr. Stern has the key. Another reference that the Carpenter picked up on, like keys. Who has possession of keys, which he would use a lot. This is a great set as well. All these little sets are wonderful, you know.
Check that outside door.
You really only see this greenhouse from one perspective, which we're at right now. A couple of different angles, but one position of the camera. Scotty takes a fucking strawberry.
I think if that other quarter back, any suggestions, Doctor? It's obviously not inside, but looking outside. Close the door, please. Never mind, Doctor. Captain.
Alright, look at this, because he spotted something. Carrington now knows. Ooh, you guys stay here. It's funny how Carrington has his trusted confidants, even on the scientific team. Because you've got loads of scientists who side with the military. And you've got loads who side, well, some that side with Carrington. His most trusted. They're wilted.
The only thing, a blast of icy air that rear door was open. Will you, Professor? 10 or 15 seconds of such exposure will do it.
Oh, I'll be honest, I don't like this.
What would that lead you to?
It's a great scene. It's a great shock moment. I don't like it. Don't like the similar scenes in John Carpenter's The Thing either.
Dr. Carrington, you were right. The lock's been forced and bent back into position again. The key's gone. Someone has entered and gone and locked the door from...
Ooh, but what's in here?
Outside. See how it glistens in the light? It's a sphere of... What?
Ooh.
From the wounded arm? You don't suppose. Open it, please.
Ooh. You open it. Oh, you know what? They don't linger long on that dog. It's a very convincing dog prop. I hope. I genuinely do not know if they just used a dead dog or they tranquilized the dog. I don't know. But they don't linger on it.
What could be more natural for a being of its kind than seeking out the only open earth within miles? It came here for refuge, heard us,
And ran.
It's been here.
I love his voice, you know.
I don't agree with you, Doctor. I think it's far better in science rather than the art.
You know what? You know, if I ever did get to act, I love his character. You know, the person I am, I'm very military minded and very proactive, aggressive, sort of, you know, shoot first, think afterwards, apologise far later. But if I got to reenact anything here, I wouldn't want to be Captain Henry. I wouldn't be him. I want to be Carrington. Because it's so against my nature, but I love what he does. I love his delivery. I love his lines. I love his secretiveness. Look at that. Again, the door opens. Everyone's fucking into action. Look at Kenneth Toby. He's doing that thing with his jaw, his mouth. Because he's frozen.
Didn't find anything, did you? I didn't think you would. When we lose them, they stay lost. Not that it makes much
when we lose them, they stay lost. Oh look, Tex has finally come out.
This came in clear about 10 minutes ago and
then
found up again.
Same to same.
Take all precautions to preserve aircraft carefully until my arrival. Same to same. Use same precautions with corpses of any occupant. Same to same. Full detailed description of
This is great.
Measurements, approximate weight, and so forth. Important.
Look at their reactions. It's just genius. I love it.
Same to same. Radio silence unnecessary. Reference message forwarding to Henry. Acknowledge immediately. Forwarding to Henry. Waiting report.
There you go.
User. Same to same. Acknowledge.
Same to same. Acknowledge at once. And they all know. Look at them. They're all laughing. Look at Lee in the background. You know, the Chinese cook. Brilliant. The laughter is just curtailed there. Shit. What's happened here? The only other female in the camp, like, you know, this is my job, Captain. I'll take care of this.
Everybody in camp, stay where you are and bolt your doors. Our visitor has returned and is dangerous.
Does Lee ever move away from that behind the food counter? Ugh. Get that out of my nose. Hello? You think, am I in bed with you? Couldn't I have had Nikki? This is really creepy, this though. And horrible. He passes out. They were. And you're like, what were they? What happened? Superb delivery, that. Superb. So quick.
Wait for me, Pat. I want to get a picture.
And it's grotesque when you think about it, isn't it? Wait for me, Pat. I want to get a picture.
This greenhouse has an outside door. You get out that way.
Captain, we can get to it from here through the generator room.
You do go with it. You mean you want us to go in and seal the door with rubber, oil drums, anything?
That's better.
That's great. What do you want us to do exactly? We're not going in, are we?
You get back with the rest. Don't be silly. That'll cost you drinks, guy. Up there.
Classic moments. Big classic moments. Whoa, fuck! Look at this now, look at that. The watch, oh! The chips of wood. That's the M1 carbine. God, crew chief Bob. Scotty again gets involved in this. He could be like, I'm a civilian. I'm a reporter, I don't do this. Should we open the door again? To get his photo.
There. That'll do it. Dr. Chapman, you're sure there's no other way out? No windows, skylights, or vents of any kind?
Dr. Chapman's fucking tall as well, isn't he?
Corrugated iron. You don't think
Oh. You, Carrington.
we just learned you found a dog in there, bled white by a visitor. You didn't report it. Why? I didn't consider it necessary. It wasn't necessary to let two of your friends.
So, you know, folks, right, everything has changed. The dynamic changes now officially. He has now got full power. Captain Hendry has full power over that outpost, that station, right now. He possibly could have had it once the thing was on the loose. Hey, crew chief Bob, go on. Fuck off and take your brains with you.
Now we got the rear door blocked. If he gets out, he'll have to dig his way through 20 or 30 oil drums and a couple of tons of snow and ice.
And Bob, next time you use that cannon, raise the sights a little.
I'm sorry, sir. I was too busy to think about that.
It's okay.
It's okay. You always blew me brains out, you know. The bullets came right the way through the back door as well, but, you know, it's alright. Again, look around that set there. All the stuff. Every little compartment, every little shelf is filled with stuff.
Yes. Yes,
Look, he's worn out.
I'm not referring to the minor argument with Captain Hendry, but this creature in the new world.
I think he's tremendous, you know.
Colleagues
Cornthwaite owns this movie.
our losses, and there may be more.
There may be more.
Powerful and more intelligent than we are. He regards us as important only for his nourishment.
You can see that really pisses him off. I want to communicate with him. I just want to talk to him. You know, so that we can learn, we can combine.
Only science can conquer him. All other weapons.
Only science. This is how Frankenstein was working as well. You know how that ended for him.
Trying.
But we've got another great shock.
I haven't slept. It's difficult. Difficult to talk.
Difficult to talk.
My notes.
Drink whiskey, because it helps you talk
yes, I know, but
more than you should do. He's dead ratty as well, like, you know, yes, I know. Oh, sorry. Can't help myself.
7 hands of X and 4 inches of Earth. I saturated the Earth.
This is
I saturated
equally
the
grotesque,
with
this.
plasma taken from
And it
my
has
background.
such a wonderful, haunting moment when we're going to see it in a second.
Indicated that blood was a primal factor in the cultivation of the seed.
So he's worked out now that blood, it ingests blood, but blood, they found seedlings, seed pods under its its claws.
I used another 2 units.
So he's been cultivating these seed pods and using the blood that they had
Came to become.
in storage, in case of accidents and transfusions.
I see by your faces you don't believe.
At that point, why would you believe anything?
Judge for yourself.
He's not going to walk you in there and show you like a fucking Punch and Judy stall. He's going to show you what he just described to you. And here it is, folks. And this is subtle but a great effect. The way that these seed pods are sort of breathing as they're ingesting the blood.
Produces amazing speed.
An army of these things.
Captain Henry's impression. This other creature in the door of the greenhouse, it seemed to have grown a new arm.
It seems to have grown a new arm, of course. We've barely readdressed that, but it grew a new arm.
Human plant. Superhuman. All of this because of the blood plasma, Doctor? That's correct. Notice these closer to the source of the plasma. Are these farther away? How many units have we? Enough, I hope.
Again, it's another wonderful, small effect.
Listen to Professor Wilson?
Yes, Doctor. I should.
Yes, I should. Yeah, but watch his face now when he listens to it. And then he comes away and he's just shell-shocked. His reference point. Like it's not nice, is it?
Well?
Almost like the wail of a newborn child. That's hungry.
Oh.
Doctor,
Yes, Miss.
See, he's got the emotion. He has no emotion.
will you be needing me anymore?
No, just finished typing my notes.
He just needs some sleep.
No one see them.
Let no one see that.
I think you should get some sleep.
There's too much to do, Professor Wilson.
Your mind can't work if you're exhausted.
My mind's still perfectly
See,
clear.
Wilson's thinking, yeah, look,
You aren't thinking what's happening there in the greenhouse. He's growing those seeds in there using blood, just as you are.
he's growing an army of his own using the blood of your comrades.
I have imagined it. Roger.
I have imagined it, and it's wonderful.
That came here not just to visit the Earth, but to conquer it. To start growing some kind of horrible army. Turn the human race into food for it. And many things threatening our world.
See, now, they hint at what the thing's mission may have been. In that screenplay right there, the one I showed you before, they discuss it quite a bit actually. And they say that's why he's picked a colder area. He seeks the cold, like they say a vegetable will go and find the cold. How many vegetables go and run off to find the cold? But they grow, they want the cold, whatever. But he says maybe they landed here to be secretive, to form their base here, and use us to incubate a new army. So they did discuss it a lot, obviously, in the original screenplay installments.
I wondered why they're not giving it to Dr. Stern. They're giving him blood transfusions instead of plasma. 2 live donors.
It's quite clever, this. It's not like a quick sort of thing like, oh, now you mentioned the blood. How are they going to find out about the blood being used? Well, you've got an injured person, so why are they giving them transfusions and rather using the plasma that's already here? Don't forget, Henry is also the guy that couldn't work out before how they could measure the size, space and distance of the impact. And I just read through that hair notes from the professor and he's just gone like, yeah, that's what he's doing.
He doesn't think the way we do anyway. But he's found something that no one can understand, and until he can solve it, he'll,
A kid with a new toy.
This toy's level spider. Thanks again.
So, no one can see my notes, Nikki. No one. And straight away she's giving the notes to him. But you would. Of course you would.
Where's Dr. Gary?
This pipe smoking knobhead. With his Christmas jumper on. Oh, fuck. Damn you!
Please don't touch. This is what your late colleagues are doing in the greenhouse.
And that is exactly what they're doing.
What happened in the greenhouse was not my fault. We've read your notes, Arthur. Yeah? I think you should have consulted the rest of us. I have all the help I need. Your opinion has not been asked. Captain Henry, I've given it to him. I'll repeat it for you.
He is a big fella. You can imagine him being like a, do you want to put the mask on for a moment or two?
We have no way of finding out how much you can multiply.
It'll need more blood, and it will make every effort to obtain what it needs. Living in prison, it is therefore harmless. How can you be sure of our safety? Or more important...
Oh, he's getting done in by everyone now.
1,000 such creatures. 10,000. Yes, it must be destroyed. There's progeny along with it.
No. I'm going to burn these. What about that thing in the greenhouse?
Yeah, we're going to burn these. What? This is my experiment.
Any destruction would be an outrage, a betrayal of science.
His points are valid. The clever thing about this movie is this sort of text get back in your Radio Shack. The clever thing is that the Science Brigade are completely right in what they want to do and what would needed to be done. The military are right in this instance of protection, preservation, safety. But you guys know exactly what I know. And the US government and most of Western government, probably every government, but like, we've got an alien. Fucking preserve that. We're going to send huge new teams in, and X-Files style and every other movie style, we're going to kill all of you witnesses. We're going to bring in our best mob ever to take care of this, but you guys are expendable. Alien. McPherson playing patience there. Or is it solitaire? Is that what it's called in some place? I don't know. Basically, it's if you play that game, you're a lonely twat.
Tex. You won't be there long. We're dropping the outside guards. You better come up here and join the rest of them in the mess hall.
We are getting one of the greatest scenes that has ever been constructed, conceived, and choreographed up until this period.
Anybody around here want some coffee?
No, but you can come in.
The only reason I brought it, I was hoping you might ask me.
Ooh. Look at him, he's showing off with his beard. All you other horny bastards here, but I've got it.
What happens if our boyfriend gets lonely and starts strolling around? Ends up in here. What do we do? I've been trying to figure that too. Nothing seems to hurt us. $64 question. What do you do with a vegetable?
Boil it.
See?
Boil it? Do it?
You can see Crew Chief Bob's going like, shit, I should have thought of that.
Doesn't bother it. Turns and we'll ask it to crawl into the double boiler. Or maybe you could borrow a flamethrower from somebody.
I got a crazy idea.
But Bob comes back. God, this is great, this. By the way, I've just noticed for the first time ever that Barnes came through the door there and no one turned around. That's the first time on this commentary, first time I've ever noticed that no one turned around when that door opened. So kerosene.
1.2.
We need one more.
What's that cigarette, Lieutenant?
1.2.
We're going to set it on fire. Rub two sticks together.
There's a very pistol in my bag.
I'll get it.
A very pistol. It's an M8. M8 flare pistol.
Don't miss. You do
Don't miss.
Oh, sure.
I think you're right, Captain. Isn't he great?
1.4.
Come here.
So the Geiger counter's kicking off.
Hold this in front of me.
Don't keep it in the room. Fuck, you know.
1.9. The needle's hit the top.
Aye, the posted image. Oh, God. Look at him. First time ever. Full body burn. Asbestos suit. 30-second oxygen inside that. And they keep on dousing him as well. Whole room's on fire. The stuntman there, Tom Steele. Not Tommy Steele. Brit viewers will know who that is. Tommy Steele. Entertainer. Singer, dancer, comedian. That is superb, that. And that looks so genuine. You know, the reverie, the aftermath of an inferno. They're all burnt and they're all putting, salve on. Kind of.
What makes me mad is that he didn't do it. I busted it falling over the bunk.
What makes you mad is he didn't do it. I busted it falling over the bunk. And he's the one that fucking let the thing loose in the first place by putting that electric blanket over it. He's the one that disturbed a polar bear. I know, folks, you didn't see that scene, but they reference it.
Keep your eye on the Geiger count.
See the door opened again, they all turn around.
I can help you, Captain. That's my line. Can you look into the intercom system from the corridor? Oh, easily. We can take one from any of the other rooms.
Look at Lee. Again, he's just stuck behind that counter. Has Lee got no legs?
Yeah, but I'd like to take along with you.
Haven't you had enough?
Well, if I start grinning up.
I bet he can't even understand a word they're saying.
We're very proud of our Captain.
Oof.
Put one of the intercoms here. That'll take care of this end. We'll put another down here at the junction of the corridor. Check it to see if they work through the mess hall. Right. Captain, I just thought of something. You said you were going to use kerosene again. You know anything better? Something hotter. Do you have enough?
Oh, God, something hotter. Margaret Sheridan right behind you.
No.
God, she looks amazing.
Dr. Chapman's been using. It's a high voltage outfit and will give us plenty of amps. Enough to burn? More than enough.
Well, could you use leads to two poles and catch in between them?
See?
Much like the poles. Sounds good. Bob, give him a hand.
Come on, Bob.
Come on, Dick.
You're the man.
Get anchorage if you can.
Everything you've said so far has worked brilliantly. Christ, size of that clock. You're sitting there right in front of that clock, watching your working day go by.
Hey, say that again.
Great dialogue here.
You too.
I got hair. It doesn't make any prettier.
No, no.
I got hair. Yeah, it doesn't make it any prettier. It's red hair, that's why.
Oh, you ninny. Look, that's what I mean.
See? Hawksian strong woman has come out with the goods there.
It is all. It's not getting any oil. See it the same way in the room across the hall. Tex, where do these heaters get their oil from?
Now, do you know, in a original version of the script, the Thing is meant to have killed one of these and stuffed the body into the what would you call it? The gas pipe and blocked it, which is grotesque when you think about it. But obviously, it's not done.
Down to 40 degrees now.
It's 60 below outside.
How long are these rooms holding heat? Half an hour at the most.
By then we'll all be
Look,
sleeping.
there's no one got out to fix that oil line. Want to think of something else?
You'll think the same thing I am. That our only chance to keep warm would be electricity. Heaters, blankets, anything like that.
Yes, it could break the
He's got a
circuit
machete.
line anywhere, except at the source.
Sure, the generator room.
Get them all in there.
I'll tell Ted.
Bring any electrical stuff. Food, medicine, blankets, warm clothes, anything you can find. And Mac, bring our flying clothes.
I know something got burned, but I'll see what I can tell.
Yeah, I love that as well. You know, he's like, the camera's fucked off and left him, but he's like, I've got my line. I'm still going to say my line.
Next thing I'll think of is the electricity, so we're putting everybody in the generator room and try to fight it from there.
Lieutenant, did you do a good job on the outside door of the generator room?
Houdini find it up getting in.
It's better than even money here come through this car.
Yeah, it's the only
See,
way.
Bob knows again.
Is there any fence wire strong enough to take your rolls? Oh, rolls of it, yeah.
Have a word, Lieutenant.
That'll work. Right on the
Bob
ground.
can do this.
One overhead and one on each side, and when that thing gets to the right spot, juice it.
I don't get you. Where's the fence wire? Right down here.
See, give me the cutters.
What are you talking
You
about?
know, but Bob for president,
Sidetrack right here for them to walk into.
he's just the best.
Inside, get in, Harris.
Look at that. She's got like big parkas and big fairy neck parkas, and she still looks absolutely gorgeous.
The rest of my life.
I thought that was true. I'd ask him out. Is it coming?
Not if I want to keep my life.
Hammer's nailed.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want us kept in the generator room, Doctor. All right, move along, please. Everybody keep moving.
Move along. Nothing to see here. Move along now, please. Move along.
Keep moving, everybody.
Suddenly you get like 30 more people that were never in the film before. That's all the cast. That's all the crew going past.
Where's your Geiger counter, Bob? I got one too, Captain. Go down to the assembly room.
Lee is still behind the food counter. Chop suey roll. Actually, I've never looked. Is Lee actually in this mob now? Or have they forgotten him completely? Professor Carrington suddenly looks very Russian, doesn't he? You noticed? See, the military are shown as being resourceful, but they're also brazen fucking idiots at the same time. Day of the Dead would do very, very similar things, the military being complete assholes, and the science brigade also being undermined by crazy experimentation. It's clever though, it's clever. It's people flung together who have certain mindsets.
Just hook this thing up, checking to see if it works.
That's fine. What you got your counting? Yes, sir. Mac, did you hear that? Every word. I hope that's all I hear.
So do I.
Oh, Captain, here's another message. This one relayed from Washington.
I hope that's all I hear. No, actually you want to hear the destruction of the thing, because you're going to die if you don't do it. Actually, to be honest, I forgot how much text does come out of the Radio Shack. Since I said he never leaves that room, he's been out about 30 times. Tex, get back in that Radio Shack.
What can we learn from that thing?
He's like Dr. Zhivago.
What happens to us? Nothing counts except our thinking. We've thought our way into nature. We've split the atom.
Yes, and that sure made the world happy.
You see? Well, it did bring about almost the end of the Second World War.
Civilization is yours. Orders.
Get him out of here.
Captain, I'm getting a reaction from the Geiger counter.
In situations, you do get people like that have got a massively different point of view to what's clearly happening. And you can't believe that they're taking the opposite opinion, which is going to be potentially life-threatening. But you do get people like that. You do. I'm with you, Lieutenant McPherson.
Keep me warm. Hey, Scotty, did you get a picture of that thing when it was on fire? Yeah. I shot one while I was falling backward over the bed. Probably got the ceiling my own big feet.
He's never got a shot yet.
Hang on.
It's great, isn't it?
Just the same, only colder. Probably means he's coming by the mess hall. Excuse me, sir. I have an idea. What?
See, Bob again. Bob is now there.
You might see these wires.
Bob a job.
Sit down and think it over. Yeah. If he thinks too long, we're cold meat.
I've got a mate called Bob.
There to the junction.
He's ex-Navy, he's ex-Merchant Navy.
Turn off this light and this one down here.
He's one of these guys that tells you a million and one seafaring tales. Proper old salty sea dog.
Showing here now.
I call him Odd Job Bob a Job Bob.
Redding, if you speed up that generator, can you get any more out of it? Certainly do all I'm trying. Bill, your check's go in. Maybe you do.
Come on.
What's the matter?
I was just wishing.
See, again.
How if we haven't enough foliage? Just keep swinging in its arm.
Bob's the guy that's always thinking.
No, I gotta worry. Report from the front, Captain. Lieutenant McPherson. This is no joke. What? What if he can read our minds?
Key line there. What if he can read our minds? In the original novella, the thing could invade the minds of the humans. That's a true story, that as well, that he's coming out with there. What an execution. Where one guy did sneak in with a camera strapped to his ankle to take a picture of the electric chair execution.
Get near the top.
Here he is. I love that flight suit now. It's tattered, it's burnt, there's rips in it. Rumour has it that they darkened the tints and softened the image. We know that James Arness, who went out to Gunsmoke, James Arness playing the Thing, did not like his costume, hates the fact he was ever in this movie. But you never see his face up close, you never see it because it was not the greatest makeup. I like it, it's minimal. Oh God, Carrington. Yep. Tionkin score builds up again. Oh, it is fucking horrible, isn't it? Look at this dickhead. Oh God, where are you going?
Listen, I'm your friend. Look, I have no weapons. I'm your friend. You're wiser than I. You must understand what I'm trying to tell you. Don't go any farther. They'll kill you. They think you mean to
It's a nice old school cut in the side swipe here to make the impact even more dynamic when he bats in the side.
I'm a scientist. I'm a scientist who's trying.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. There's no cut at all. What am I talking about? You can see he's damaged. There is injuries there. His head is bleeding.
It's right in the middle, sir.
I mean, look at that as well. It's so barbaric. Carrying a huge fucking piece of wood like that. Okay. This is a great effect, you know. He sinks to his knees. He's getting pizzazzed. Look at McPherson. And you'll get Billy Curtis from The Wizard of Oz. Here, that's him now. Who's a dwarf. He's also in High Plains Drifter. He's Malachi that Clint talks to a lot in High Plains Drifter and uses as his little stooge. Oh, toasted. It's good effect, you know. I like that. I like the way it's intercut with like a smaller guy as well, and this steaming pile of thing poo. Get your picture now. That's a good fade out there. That's a good pass. I'm down, I'm out. Look at that. That looks like just a big piece of dung, doesn't it?
Take a minute to warm up. We can get through it.
Take a minute to warm up. You're all frozen anyway.
Only take 5 minutes. I guess it's okay. Go ahead, Scotty. You're going to look a lot better to me than you used to.
All done, Pat.
You get everything?
Come on, bring all the survivors in. The thing has only killed 2 people. It's injured a few, but it's only killed 2 people. And that's the one thing I actually wish this film had done more of. I watch it all the time. I hail it as one of the greatest sci-fi horror movies of all time. And yet, it only kills 2 people.
Nothing you can do about it, Nicky?
And a few dogs.
Well, I don't know. You know, I'm getting pretty fed up with the North Pole. How much did the captain make a month?
Not very much. That's a good start. Go ahead.
Enough to support 2
And,
people?
you know, the Hawksian bicker banter, the strong woman again, the sidekicks.
Look, I'm not going to be railroaded
Captain,
anyway.
I've got an idea if you'll find me, sir. This has been a word. You ought to settle down, sir.
See that?
There you
I've got an
go.
idea,
So much
if you
better.
pardon me. And like
Captain always
Eddie Dykes goes like, this will work. This will work because it's a plan from Crew Chief Bob. Everything Bob says
See, they know
works.
what's best for you.
Here we are. Honey voltage now.
And here we go, folks.
Polar Expedition 6. Anchorage from Polar Expedition 6. Can you hear me? Over. Anchorage, reception clear. Press the button to speak, Scott.
Finally, you got Scotty like, this is my fucking moment now.
You'll be here in a few minutes. Over. Roger, over. Are there any newsmen there who can hear me? Over.
Everyone.
All right, fellas, here's your story. North Pole, November 3rd. Ned Scott reporting. One of the world's greatest battles was fought in one today by the human race. Here at the top of the world, a handful of American soldiers and civilians met the first invasion from another.
Has Barnes lost another ear?
Man by the name of Noah once saved our world with an ark of wood.
He's used a few biblical quotes in this movie.
With an arc of electricity. The flying saucer which landed here and its pilot have been destroyed, but not without casualties among our own meager forces.
Our own meager forces. There was one alien, one thing against them. And they've had fucking, I don't know how many people are there.
The man's over and above the call of duty.
That should have been them fucking necking in the background.
Is recovering from wounds received in the battle. Good for you, Scott.
He does give Carrington the benefit of the doubt.
Every one of you listening to my voice, tell the world, tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies.
Come on.
Everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.
Oh God, don't you genuinely feel that? Don't you shiver when you hear him say that? Ba-bam, 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 ba-bam. Oh my God. It is fantastic. That's the thing, folks. The thing from another world. Da-da-da-da. Right. So, what I'll do now, let's just go onto a big, massive red screen with a big warning thing. I'm gonna... Why is it when you leave certain movies playing on disc and it goes into all the foreign language warnings and copyright stuff that you can't get off it once they've started it? This endless cycle of different languages. What I'm going to do now, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about the movie to round out, let's just play it again, but we'll turn the sound down a wee bit. It's that. You watch it, but it's that RKO thing that gets me blocked initially. Folks, there was 1951's The Thing from Another World. I think we all agree this is an absolute genius of a movie, a masterpiece of a movie. Suspense, terror, thought-provoking, highly exciting, highly engaging. The characters are alive, they're energetic. Whether they're leaping about or whatever, being held around by a flambéed thing or whatever, it's their dialogue. It's their dialogue that works. It puts you in. You're there. You're actually in that Arctic outpost, and the bicker banter. You're in it. You're enjoying it. And you want to add your little lines. You've got your favourites. Crew Chief Bob, he's the main man. Love that guy. But as I say, it's Carrington. Carrington owns this movie in so many ways. His ridiculousness, his dogmatic style. He's blinkered. He's half asleep throughout most of it because I haven't slept and I'm creating these things. I'm not thinking them through properly, as the other scientist says to him. You're not thinking this through, Professor. The thing's doing the same thing in the greenhouse. It's creating an army of these. What if this thing came here not to just investigate, but to invade, to take over, and you're doing its job for it? It's just fucking genius. Set design is awesome. All the paraphernalia around every single room and all the sets are great. The using Glacier Park in Montana works dividends for the bits that you see there. Encino, San Fernando Valley, works great. The snow flurries, the snow drifts, they don't cop out on any of that. You see a window to an open environment in this movie. The snow going past it, you get that sense of wind and cold all the time. The effects, okay, the minimal amount of makeup that James Arness is wearing, it's just a heightened forehead. There's a couple of thorny bits, and he's got the thorn fingers and all that. He's got but the weird flight suit is crazy. I love it. I love that design of that, especially at the end of it. You see it's all burnt and frazzled, and there's wounds on it, and he's wounded as well. And I understand why they darken prints and soften prints. If you look at that scene where he comes through the door, like they open the door to the greenhouse, and he's standing right there, a great classic moment. And that rivals certainly Ben Gardner's head in Jaws. One of the great shock sequences. It's like, oh my God! And he's there, and his hand just comes out like that. But they've softened the image of his head. It's because they just did not like the effect. And that's Howard Hawks' fault. Howard Hawks was very dismissive of Lee Markway's design work, and he'd spent months trying to do all this, and he was just like, no, let's just go with Karloff, just do Karloff, so we get the heightened forehead, and that was it, really, that was it. And using James Arness's statuesque build, which again works, of course, but folks, The Thing from Another World, it is a genre milestone, without a doubt. It broaches the sci-fi and horror genres together. It binds them together. It completely evokes the 50s, Reds under the bed, sort of, pessimism and distrust and paranoia. That's all there. Brings that to a T. It brings in strong women characters. It brings in the arch dichotomy between, the scientific belief and the military mindset. And no one comes out winning from that. No one's the best. The military are buffoons in this. Don't make that mistake that the military they're the ones who have the right ideas. No, they're not. They're not. They're being horribly proactive and destroying something which could be very, very important. The Science Brigade have got the right idea. They just don't execute it very well. But just taking time together and discussing plans would perhaps have worked, and we could have captured the creature, the thing, and studied it. But then the film would have been shit, wouldn't it? So, no, it's what you need. It's conflict. No, that's what happens. I do like that, and it does encapsulate that pretty well. The military side of it is done well. The bicker banter and the reminiscences of other missions they've been on, and like, remember that? Oh yeah. Oh god, that was a bad one, yeah. And they talk about things. They talk around things, and it's very humanistic and it's genuinely believable. The dialogue, some of it's on the nose, but most of it is really, really good. This is a film that puts you in that environment, and it gives you the thrills, chills and spills, and it does create that sense of genuine awe and wonder of what's up above, what's coming to visit us, what does it all mean. It's on again right now, folks, and I'm trying not to look at it because I'll just start talking again. But I love this movie, and I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. Cheers, y'all. We'll see if it gets blocked and then unblocked, or it just comes through unscathed. Who knows? But this film is genius. Tiomkin's score is electrifying. It's only short, it's only sparse, but when used and employed, it has absolute galvanizing dynamics which really get you. And the set design and the effects are truly wonderful. They genuinely are. When he gets pizzazzed at the end, and he starts shrinking down, and you bring in the dwarf, it works brilliantly. And the actual visual effect of the sparks is fantastic. I wish he killed more. I genuinely wish he killed more. There were rumours that the scene of the two guys hanging upside down was filmed. It was not filmed. It was not filmed. But in certain scripts, I know the version I've got there, you do see them in that script. You're meant to see them behind when they open the door. You see them there. They're hanging there, and I think the doctor who gets sideswiped and knocked out but survives. Is it Professor Voorhees? Is that him? Is it him? Is it Jason Voorhees himself? I can't remember now. You do see them, and they were going to film all that. That was never going to happen, was it? You can imagine there may be like just sort of a reverse shot, so just behind them, they'd just be silhouetted sort of thing. That'd still be grisly as hell. And one of the most ghastly scenes of that ilk would be in Dracula Prince of Darkness, where Dracula's acolyte gets one of the hapless people that have ended up at Castle Dracula, and to awaken his master, he hangs him upside down above the casket, the open casket, and slits his throat, and the bright scarlet Kensington gore spills into the casket, and Dracula rejuvenates from that. But just the image of the body, and it's shot from behind, of him hanging upside down, and the knife going in. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ. You could have had a similar thing for that, but it wasn't done. The film is immaculate, perfect as it is. So, who do you believe? Christian Nyby, director? Howard Hawks? Kenneth Toby, to his grave, said, no, it was Howard Hawks that directed it every single day on set. It was Howard Hawks. All the people say the opposite. And James Arness, who does not like this movie, as I said before, because he felt ridiculous in the makeup, he says, no, it was Nyby. But the thing is, the two of them are on set all the time. I personally believe that Howard Hawks directed this movie. That's what I believe. It has all of Hawksian trademarks. Everything is there. People have said that when Nyby was there, he would compose the shot, set the scene, and then go and, before the cameras rolled, go and defer to Howard Hawks. Am I doing this right? Is this right? What would you do here? And then go and change things. So Howard Hawks was surreptitiously directing behind the scenes. But I think Nyby was there. Howard Hawks gave the directing credit to Christian Nyby so he could be one of the Directors Guild of America, to give him that credit. But he is all over this. You've got to look back to Poltergeist as well. Tobe Hooper, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Life Force, you know. But Tobe Hooper, awesome director. But you look at Poltergeist, which Tobe Hooper officially directed. Who do you, and it's a Spielberg movie, whose trademark is all over that? It's stamped through the celluloid, it's in its DNA, it's completely Spielbergian. From, conception onwards, it's Spielberg. But Hooper was there on set. But there are many, many images and stills of taken on set, and who's the one calling the shots? In different scenes, Spielberg's there, and he's pointing and he's directing. He's clearly doing stuff with the cast and the crew, and Hooper can't be seen. It's Spielberg doing it, and I believe that'll be the same thing with this movie. It's Howard Hawks who's unleashed his characters, his cast onto the set. Here's your script, but we're going to keep the cameras rolling, but you guys just into play. You know who you are. You know what the point of this is. Just bicker banter. Do it. Christian, you stay over there a minute. You make the tea for so and so. Go on. You go and stand in for Lee behind the Chinese guy behind the food cabinet, the food counter. No, thing is, we don't know. They had a big cast reunion a few years ago, and they were asked the same thing again, and it was like, again, split 70-30. The 70 were saying it was Howard Hawks, 30% were saying no, it was definitely Christian Nyby who directed it. The two of them were there, but it was Hawks that was calling all the shots. Folks, anyway, listen, hope you enjoyed that. The Thing from Another World. I will do John Carpenter's The Thing, which is genius again. As you know, I've talked about it enough already. Who would need a commentary? But you're going to get one at some point. In the meantime, and this ever shape-shifting super carrot in between time, please keep it Kilted, keep it Celtic. And I am going to see you all. Look, this is the biggest story since the parting of the Red Sea. You can't cover it up.